Hello, this is Brian Hegney, instructor of Game and Interactive Media Design. For the last video, I believe this is the last video, we are going to talk about cloning and healing, which is not a Star Trek topic. It is cloning and healing in Photoshop. So let's go to Photoshop. This is where we left off last. I was just having fun with a cool background. I'm going to turn that off now. And I'm going to bring back the fans behind us by holding down Shift and clicking the mask and bringing people back. Yay. Let's talk about, cloning and healing. Number one, this is just a little bit of power we can give ourselves. I'm trying to think about what I want to do here. Let's say, for instance, you're not allowed to have the Nike Swish, okay? If you're not allowed to have the Nike Swish, I am going to put a layer on top of my stack, my layer stack. So this says layer 2, and I'm going to double click the word layer 2 and call this clone. Cloning. And we are going to clone color from her shirt over the Nike Swish. So I'm going to use this clone stamp tool. Over on the left, it looks like a little stamp. Click it. Now what the clone stamp needs, it needs color from somewhere else. So I'm going to place my cursor right next to the swish because this color is probably very similar to the color that the swish would be if it wasn't there. When my cursor is on a suitable color, I'm going to hold down the Alt key and it turns into a reticle. I'm going to click the left mouse button. And now, when I place it over the Nike, you can see I covered it up. Now that looks like crud. You should know that that looks like crud. Why does it look like crud? Because I used a brush with a hard edge. You can even see it from back here. Really don't like that. So I'm going to hit Command Z, and I'm instead going to hold down Shift left bracket to make a slightly more feathered edge. Okay, and now you can see that that's actually going to blend well because it's a feathered edge. There. Whoops. There we go. It's a little bit nicer. There's still a little bit of weirdness right here. If you have a good eye, you can start to see that this little twirly-do is actually a repeating pattern from here. So I am going to do another, let's see, let's toggle that on and off. Ooh, the other thing that comes in are these spots here. So even though we have a magic ability to clone colors, it is going to be a little bit difficult to make sure it's perfect. But guess what? I can always continue cloning. So I'm going to Alt-click again right about here, and now make a little bigger brush, and click there, and click there. I'm going to keep doing that until I kind of smooth that out. There we go. It's actually pretty nice now. If I toggle that on and off, you can see I am now not violating any copyright. We can do that in many places. For instance, if we are wearing a pin we're not supposed to be wearing, which that's a totally acceptable pin, but what if it was raunchy? We could use the clone tool and kind of cover over that. Oops! You see what happens? This is actually part of her palm over here because of from where I brought it over. So what I'm going to do is Control Z or Command Z. I'm going to grab again, maybe from right here, but just note, be careful where your reticle is, and maybe Alt-click again to like continue to grab stuff. There. And to show it a little bit easier, if I grab her eye and come over here, I can start basically building her face. A lot of students hate this idea because they want to just grab a certain color and keep painting it forever. But really what Photoshop is doing, it's grabbing pixels from wherever you started from, and it's repeating those. I'm obviously not going to keep that. Alright. We could do like really weird things too, not just covering up trademark things or pendants. But we could say, ooh, you know what? Let's cover her eye up. Right, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's so weird! Okay, there's one thing you could do. Let's go ahead and do, I'm going to pause it. For the next thing I want to do, I wanted to show what healing was, because healing is slightly different than cloning. And we are going to look at wrinkles, even though I think wrinkles are wonderful. But what if there's lighting on you that like really highlights wrinkles that you like, but you don't love them being so dark? I'm just going to go over that really quickly. Number one, this is the Band-Aid tool. Or no, it's not called the Band-Aid tool. It's called the Spot Healing Brush tool. It looks like a Band-Aid, and I just want to point out how easy this is. This is fairly similar to cloning, but it blends everything together. So I'm going to add a new layer on top. Now you can do this right on the image itself. I never recommend that because I'm just going to go ahead and do it and show you what happens. I never know if, number one, if it's going to be a good edit, but number two, what if you get rid of somebody's wrinkles and they're like, hey, you got rid of my wrinkles. I love my wrinkles. Okay, so I cannot toggle this on and off to see if I did a better job. So I'm going to just kind of go back and open this up again. There we go. And instead of healing the wrinkles on the image layer itself, I'm going to go up to layer 2 and call this my healing layer. And now I'm going to kind of zoom in. And when you heal something, whether it's a blemish, whether it's, you know, somebody's keys or wrinkles, you're going to want to make your brush, your healing brush, a little bit bigger than the wrinkle itself or the blemish itself. This is, if I made it like too big, it's going to start to heal things that, it'll start bringing components into the, oops, and if it's too small, it's not going to work either. So it really needs to be probably like that. And the reason why I put this on a new layer is so that I can toggle it on and off and see like, oh, did I do a good job? Is that better or is it worse? It actually makes it look a little bit like age spots, and this is why it's like good to be able to toggle things on and off. Now what if I was just saying, you know what, the lighting was so stark, there's so many shadows. What I might do is keep that healing layer on, but I could always turn opacity down. And maybe I just want to lessen the impact of those. And in that case, now when I turn the opacity of healing down, I can toggle that on and off. It actually makes a little sense. Yeah. Okay. So the difference between cloning and healing, by the way, is that healing is going to blend in. So if I come here, actually no, I need to show you the next thing to show you. The other healing brush tool is healing brush tool, not spot healing brush tool, and this is where things may get a little confusing. Because when I enabled just the healing brush tool, it works just like the clone tool. I'm going to hold down Alt to grab from a specific area. And then I can place my paint tool over here and kind of, oh, I know why that's not working. I want to add a new layer and call it Healing 2. Okay, now I'm going to Alt-click here, and I can kind of cover that up. And I'm choosing from a specific place my own. If I had just used the spot healing tool brush, I don't know where that stuff is coming from. Like sometimes it'll just grab it from the nose. it doesn't ask you. When you use the healing brush tool, you actually tell it by holding down Alt, clicking it, to choose from a specific place. Okay, so that's actually a lot stronger of a tool. Again, here, if I want to get his forehead, I'm actually gonna grab it from like here near the forehead, or kind of near. Okay. Yep, and so now I can turn those on and off. Again, wrinkles are fine. I'm only doing this to prove a point. And the other point is, why am I doing this? Because I might want to heal the shadow between here. So that might look like a bad edit. And if I add a new layer on top called healing, I can grab from her cheek and do that, and that kind of blends the difference, right? This kind of blends it over. And so what's the difference? Just a little bit of blending. Here's something else that's cool. I'm going to use another tool. There's something called the patch tool. And I just realized, I'm sorry, if you've been trying to work on this, there's something you should note. When I was using the spot healing brush tool, I've been working on these other layers. My Photoshop is actually set to sample all layers at the top here. If you have that unclicked, you're actually not going to be able. It's going to say, hey, oh my god, you could not use the spot healing brush tool because there's not enough source pixels on the selected layer. Okay, so you have to sample all layers when you do it the good way, which is my way. Same thing with the healing brush tool. In this case, it's a drop-down panel, and you have to choose all layers, or current layer and below. In the next tool, the patch tool, it's kind of hidden, but you can click on, let's see, it's set to normal to start with, but I want you to go to your patch tool and set that to content aware. And then you get a sample all layers button. Now I'm going to create a new one called, like, I don't know, patch. And I can select her eye by drawing a little thing around it using the patch tool. And when I move this around, I could say, like, oh, drop it on her forehead or her nose. I could put her nose here. Let go. Oh, that didn't do so well. Let's drag it to her lips. Okay, well, whatever. Sometimes it's better than others. There we go. We got a little bit of that nose there. All right, so that's kind of fun. A reason why you might use the patch tool could be, like, again, if you wanted this insignia gone, you can use the patch tool, draw around it, move it over to, like, here, let go. And it kind of did an okay job. It's actually still pretty annoying to me, but I could always use my healing brush tool, grab from down here. Oops, nope, not do that. Let's go ahead and use our spot healing brush tool. See, sometimes the different tools are better for it. Just kind of muck around. There. Is that good? It's decent. You might not notice it. And I guess that's it. Those are the fun healing brush tool, clone tool, and why you would ever use them. All right, bye.